Hey guys, so this is the quick introduction on how to set up NetBeans for using the drawing projects. It's a little bit wonky, and I'm sure you can do this in other IDEs. I just haven't played with them enough. As we primarily use NetBeans in class, that's what I'm going to teach you. Feel free to move to other IDEs if you can figure out how to use the same library, but don't expect me to know all the troubleshooting if you do. Okay, there's too many IDEs, and I'm not familiar with all of them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here to our yellow box and we're going to set up a drawing project. So yes, I've already got one up that we did for class, but I'm going to show you how to do it again. So I'm going to call this one draw. Oh, nope, sorry, cancel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new Java project. Java application, we're good there. I move forward. Now the big thing again to do is uncheck this box. There should be nothing highlighted underneath. And then for your application, your folder, I'd recommend giving it some kind of artsy name, graphics, drawing, sketch, doodle, art, whatever the case may be. I'll call mine draw. Okay. And over here on the left, you'll see a new folder pop up. There should be nothing in it. Nothing should trigger over here. So now I go to my normal setup, which is my white box. What you need to do is make sure that new project you created is what's selected. Then I come over here to Java and empty Java just like I do on all my assignments. And then this is the one that matters. I have to give it this exact name or none of the codes I use will function correctly. So capital S, TD, capital D, RAW. All right. Now, we tried this several ways in class. This is the best way. It looks a little roundabout, but trust me. So here in Canvas, you'll see I gave you the library. We're going to download it real fast. And then I go get it, and I just copy paste the entire thing into my Java code. Okay, 2,064 lines. Okay, I go ahead and run it to make sure everything transferred correctly. It's readable. It is. So I've got this file, I'm good to go. So I make sure it's saved and I leave it alone. I do not mess with it ever again, okay? Moving forward, everything that I want to use that library has to go in that project. That's why we made a new one. So when I make my next file, I make sure I'm in draw and then make another file. And so this could be anything that we're talking about. So the first assignment I gave you guys was our shapes or graphics. We're just going to call this shapes. Okay. Back in Canvas, I've given you starter code. Okay. Now this is so small, yeah, you can copy paste this. You will lose the formatting and the extra spaces. So I'm going to do the same trick I just showed you. So I'll just copy and I'll paste it over here so that I have access to the whole thing. Okay? So this was our first warm-up to play around with the StdDraw library. It's got some basic shapes up here. We talked about how to construct them, but I'm going to show you how this time. So this is what I want to recreate in my program today. Now, I've already got the starter code that I gave everybody. It's got all of our basics that we need for StdDraw. It's in the same library. The one thing I need to add. Okay, this is for fonts and colors if we so choose to. I've already got random in here by default, but we won't use that this time. Up here in this first part of the code, this is what's setting the J-frame, what is creating the pop-up of the canvas that allows us to draw on it. We're not going to mess with that too much. We're going to leave it as is, but this is the X, and this is the Y. So we can manipulate those if we want to later make a larger or taller window. So the first one is a filled circle in the upper left-hand corner of the window. The code for that's pretty self-explanatory. Draw.circle. Actually, it's filled in, so filled circle. And then I have 3 data points that I need. I need the x and y of the center point, and then I need the radius. So if we imagine 800 by 600, let's just start at 200, and we'll go up to 400, and we'll make it a radius of 100. And we can change that if we need to, but that's where we'll start. Now, the thing you guys need to get in the habit of is testing your code. Okay, so see, that's not bad. That's up in the top corner. We're there. We could manipulate it further if we need to. It could be a little bit higher, but I'm okay with it. We'll add 50 just to make sure. Okay. Now, the picture makes it look gray, but that's mostly just the copy, but we can do that as well. So by default, it was black, excuse me. So set pin color, and then rather than look it up on the RGB, this one I'm going to just get the default from StdDraw, light gray. All right, it is case sensitive. So what are you mad about now? That's not a method. Oh, there it goes. Okay, just took a little bit to delay. Okay, so there we go. We've got that. All right, now I will reset this back to black. This will be our RGB value, so 0, 0, 0. Okay, so draw a hollow upper right of the window. So this is the square with the apothem. If you're not familiar, an apothem is the radius of a polygon. It goes from the center to a flat edge. So we'll start with the square. It's hollow, so we just go square. And again, 3 data points. So circle's at 200. So let's go 450, I guess. And we'll go up to 450 as well. And then we'll make it the same size as the circle. Test that out. Okay, not bad. Again, we could go further. So yeah, let's go 600. Okay. Now, the line is a little different. So even though we call it a line, it's actually a line segment. And a line segment is defined by 2 points at either end. Now, the first point we already know because that's the center of our square. So 600, 450, that's our first value. The second part, oh, and I closed the picture, we want to go straight down. Now, we know that that's 100 units, pixels, whatever the case may be. So the x value does not change. We're still at 600. And to go straight down, we just subtract 100 from our center. So that would be 350. Okay. There we go. 2 down, 3 to go. All right, use multiple ellipses to form a sphere on the lower part. Okay, so we're going to make something the same size as before, and it says ellipse. I guess we can do that. All right, so the circle is at 200, 450. So let's go 200, 250, and we'll make it 100. So this should be my circle that I'm going to base all my ellipses off of. Okay, too tall. So we just bring it back down. Let's go 150. Give it some space to breathe. Okay, there you go. So now we've got our basic. Now, an ellipse is just an oval, so it's a stretched out circle. So, or compressed, depending on which way you look at it. What we want is we want to make some repeatedly slightly smaller circles, but it's still going to connect at those 2 points. When we do the horizontal one, they're going to be stretched wide, but they're still going to connect. So what we're going to do is we're just going to redraw this twice, and we're going to change one of those values. So let's say this one goes to 75. This one goes to 50. Nope, not 500. That'd be too big. All right, so let's see what happens here. Okay, not bad. I'm going to go one more. I know it's only got 2, but this way you can see all the scales of it. Okay, so now to make it look proportional, we do the exact same thing, only we flip which variable we change. So like this will start at 25. Okay, and then we just add those. So here's 50, and here's 75, and that should give us a pretty good sphere. Okay, there you go. Now y'all only needed 2, so if y'all don't want to have all these lines, that's perfectly fine. Okay. Create a cube with a rectangular prism in the lower right quadrant. Okay, so again, I'm going to take my square I made up here. This time I want to draw 2, but we're going to move those over. So let's drop this down to 150. Let's see. Okay, so one will be 600, 150. Then we'll go up and over, I guess. So we'll just make that 50 and this part 200. So this will give me 2 squares. Now, it doesn't really matter which way you've got them stationed, so long as you see some kind of a separation. Okay, so mine are, the right one is higher up, but it's okay if you reversed it. I'm not going to be picky on that. The 4 lines are going to be a little more tricky, though, because they're not going from the middle. We have to calculate all the points. Now, how to solve it, though, is pretty straightforward. So we know where the centers are, and we know how big the square is. So we just decide which corner we want to grab, and we move our half length to it. So let's go upper left. Okay. So from each center, we're going to move over here and then over here. Okay. So since we're moving left in the X, that means we subtract. And if we're going up in the Y, we add. So from the first square, 600 minus 100 is going to be 500. And then the Y from 150 up 100 is going to be 250. Now I repeat the same pattern on the center of the other square. So 650 minus 100 would be 550, and 200 plus 100 would be 300. So this should give us the connecting line between the upper left corners, which it did. Okay. Now we just need to repeat that same process for each one. If I moved right, I add. If I move left, I subtract on the X. If I move up, I add. If I move down, I subtract on the Y. Okay? You just need to repeat the pattern on the same one. These are from the first square. These are from the second square. And the pattern basically continues. So this is top left. Let's do top right. So top right, we add in both cases. So 600 plus 100 is 700. 150 plus 100 is 250. 650 plus 100 is going to be 750. And 200 plus 100 will be 300. So now we've got 2 connected points. Okay? Got one of those weird stools or tables now. Okay? So now we finish the last 2 the exact same way. And now that you've done 2 corners, you actually have all the numbers. You just have to mix and match them. Okay, so if I want to do, let's go bottom right. Okay, so I go over 700, and this time instead of adding, I subtract. So this is just going to be 50. Same thing, I go over, but instead of adding, I subtract. So this will be 100 left over. Yeah, I just cut these. Okay, so I'm at 3. So now I do my last combination. I'm going backwards. So this will be bottom left. Okay, so 600 minus 100 is 500. 150 subtract 100 is going to be 50. Then I have 650 minus 100 is 550, and 100 minus 100, no, 200 minus 100 is 100. Let's see. There we go. All right. So just think of it geometrically. So you're doing the same pattern for each square. That's how you get the same corner. The last thing I need is my name. So we're not going to worry about changing the font this time. Oops, hang on, I got a lag or buffer. Maybe it's all these that are open. Yeah, make sure you close these out occasionally. They can lag your computer. There you go. Now it rolled over. Okay. Okay. Now, the position of your text is, I believe, the front center. So you're defining this point right here where it starts. So the middle vertical of where the text starts. So we're not going to go out too far. So let's go 150, and we'll go up about half the screen. That should kind of thread the needle between our codes, our pictures. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So that's a quick example of how to do the drawing projects. Hope it was helpful. Thank you.